Imagine a time long ago, a time before England as we know it, a time when the land was wild and untamed, covered in dense forests and vast meadows, where the air was filled with the songs of birds and the whispers of ancient spirits. This was the age of the Anglo-Saxons, fierce warriors and skilled craftsmen who crossed the sea from continental Europe. They were a people of great strength and resilience, carving out a new life in a land that was both beautiful and harsh. They brought with them rich traditions and beliefs, a vibrant pagan faith that shaped their world. Their gods and goddesses were as real to them as the earth beneath their feet and the sky above their heads. From the 5th century AD, these beliefs flourished across the land we now call England. Villages and communities thrived, each with its own unique customs and practices, yet all united by a common thread of faith and tradition. Their world was one of gods and monsters, where the natural world held deep significance. Every tree, every stone, every river was believed to be inhabited by spirits, each with its own story and power. The rustling of leaves, the crash of thunder, the flow of rivers, all these held meaning, whispers of the divine. Nature was not just a backdrop to their lives, but an active participant in their daily existence. The Anglo-Saxons believed in a world filled with spirits and supernatural beings. These entities could be benevolent or malevolent, and understanding their will was crucial for survival and prosperity. They sought to understand and appease these forces through rituals and offerings. Ceremonies were held to honor the gods, to seek their favor, and to ensure the well-being of the community. Their beliefs were woven into the fabric of their lives, influencing everything from their laws to their poetry. The stories they told, the songs they sang, and the laws they upheld were all reflections of their deep spiritual connection to the world around them. But this world, like all worlds, was destined to change. The landscape itself began to transform as new influences and ideas took root. The arrival of Christianity in the 7th century AD marked a turning point in Anglo-Saxon history and the beginning of the end for their ancient faith. Missionaries brought with them new beliefs and practices, gradually converting the Anglo-Saxons and reshaping their spiritual landscape. The old gods were replaced by a new singular deity, and the rituals that once defined their lives slowly faded into memory. The Anglo-Saxons worshipped a pantheon of gods, each with their own domain and powers. These deities were deeply woven into the fabric of their daily lives, influencing everything from their agricultural practices to their warfare strategies. At the head of this pantheon stood Woden, the god of wisdom, war, and death. He was not just a warrior, but also a seeker of knowledge, often depicted with a spear, symbolizing his relentless pursuit of wisdom. Imagine him as a powerful figure, cloaked in furs, his one eye gazing out across the battlefield. This single eye was a mark of his sacrifice, having given the other for a drink from the well of wisdom. Woden was a god of magic and poetry, a wanderer who inspired both fear and awe. He was often accompanied by ravens, which were said to bring him news from all corners of the world. Next came Thunor, the mighty god of thunder. He was the embodiment of raw power and natural forces, a deity who could command the skies. Picture him with a hammer in hand, his voice booming like a storm across the sky. His hammer, Mjolnir, was not just a weapon, but also a symbol of protection and blessing. Thunor was the protector of mankind, a warrior god who fought against giants and monsters. His battles were legendary, tales of his bravery passed down through generations. He embodied strength and courage, his name echoing in the rumble of thunder. Farmers and warriors alike would call upon him for strength and protection. Then there was Tiw, the brave and cunning god of war and justice. Unlike Thunor, Tiw's strength lay in his strategic mind and his unwavering sense of justice. He was revered for his strategic mind and unwavering sense of fairness. Tiw was often depicted with scales, symbolizing his role in maintaining balance and order. Tiw represented order and law, a god who ensured balance in the world. His influence was seen in the legal systems and codes of conduct that governed Anglo-Saxon society. These three gods, along with others like the goddess Freya, formed the core of the Anglo-Saxon pantheon. Freya, the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility, was also a powerful figure, often associated with magic and prophecy. But the Anglo-Saxon world wasn't just populated by gods. Their mythology was rich with a variety of other supernatural beings and creatures. There were elves, mischievous creatures of the forest who could be both helpful and harmful. These beings were believed to have the power to influence human affairs, sometimes bringing good fortune, other times causing mischief and trouble. Nicors too lurked in the depths of the waters, shape-shifting beings who could drag unsuspecting sailors to their doom. These water spirits were feared and respected, often the subject of cautionary tales. And who could forget the dragons, fire-breathing beasts who guarded treasures and instilled terror in the hearts of men? These dragons were not just monsters, but also symbols of chaos and greed, their stories serving as warnings against the dangers of avarice and hubris. The Anglo-Saxons expressed their beliefs through a rich tapestry of rituals and ceremonies. Their spiritual practices were deeply woven into the fabric of their daily lives, influencing their actions, decisions, and community bonds. Sacrifice was central to their faith, a way to appease the gods and secure their favor. They offered animals, precious objects, and even, on rare occasions, human lives. These sacrifices were not just acts of devotion, but also a means to communicate with the divine, seeking guidance and blessings. Human sacrifices, though rare, were considered the ultimate offering, a profound act of reverence and desperation. These were often performed during times of great need or crisis, when the community sought to demonstrate their utmost loyalty and commitment to their gods. Imagine the flickering flames of a sacrificial pyre, the chanting of priests, the smell of smoke rising to the heavens. The atmosphere would be charged with a sense of solemnity and anticipation as the community gathered to witness and participate in these sacred rites. Religious festivals punctuated the year, marking the changing seasons and honoring the gods. These festivals were not only spiritual observances, but also social events that reinforced community bonds and cultural identity. These were times of great feasting and celebration, where communities came together to give thanks and ask for blessings. The festivals were filled with music, dance, and storytelling, creating a vibrant tapestry of communal joy and reverence. Picture long wooden tables laden with food and drink, the joyous sounds of music and laughter filling the air. The feasts were a time to enjoy the bounty of the land, to share stories and strengthen the bonds of kinship and friendship. The Anglo-Saxons didn't build grand temples like the Romans. Their places of worship were more integrated with the natural world, reflecting their deep connection to the land and its cycles. Instead, they worshipped in sacred groves, beside ancient trees, or within stone circles. These natural sites were imbued with spiritual significance, serving as bridges between the human and divine realms. These places were seen as thin places, where the veil between the worlds was thin and the gods felt close at hand. The Anglo-Saxons believed that in these sacred spaces they could more easily communicate with their deities and ancestors. Imagine standing within a circle of ancient stones, the wind whispering through the trees, a sense of peace and mystery settling over you. In these moments, the Anglo-Saxons felt the presence of their gods, drawing strength and guidance from the natural world around them. The coming of the cross Christianity reaches Anglo-Saxon shores. Christianity arrived in England in the late 6th century, brought by missionaries from Rome. This new faith, with its message of love and forgiveness, offered a stark contrast to the harsh realities of the pagan world. It slowly began to take root, spreading through the land like wildfire. The transition from paganism to Christianity was a gradual process, often marked by conflict and resistance. Some Anglo-Saxon kings embraced the new faith, seeing it as a way to unite their kingdoms and consolidate their power. Others clung fiercely to the old ways, defending their gods and traditions. The impact of Christianity was profound. It reshaped the Anglo-Saxon worldview, replacing the old gods with the Christian God. Monasteries sprang up across the land, becoming centers of learning and culture. The old ways were gradually pushed aside, their stories and rituals fading into memory. Echoes of the past uncovering Anglo-Saxon paganism. Today, we piece together the puzzle of Anglo-Saxon paganism from fragments of evidence scattered across the centuries. Christian texts, written by monks who sought to convert the Anglo-Saxons, offer glimpses into their beliefs, albeit often through a distorted lens. Place names, too, provide clues. Many towns and villages bear the names of Anglo-Saxon gods, hinting at ancient sites of worship. Think of places like Woodway or Thundersley, their very names echoing with the whispers of forgotten deities. Archaeology offers perhaps the most tangible connection to this lost world. Excavations of burial mounds have unearthed weapons, jewelry, and other grave goods, offering insights into Anglo-Saxon beliefs about the afterlife. These objects, crafted with skill and artistry, speak of a people deeply connected to their faith. The enduring legacy Anglo-Saxon paganism in the modern age. Though the gods of the Anglo-Saxons may have faded from common worship, their legacy lives on. Their stories continue to resonate, inspiring artists, writers, and musicians. Think of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, its pages filled with echoes of Anglo-Saxon mythology. Their influence can be felt in our language too, in words like Thursday, Thor's Day, and Wednesday, Woden's Day. These linguistic remnants remind us that the past is never truly gone, but rather woven into the fabric of the present. Even today, some people find meaning and inspiration in the beliefs of their Anglo-Saxon ancestors. Modern pagan groups draw upon these ancient traditions, seeking to reconnect with the land and the old ways. The gods of the Anglo-Saxons may no longer rule the heavens, but their stories continue to captivate our imaginations and remind us of the enduring power of belief.